Hello and welcome. My name is Kimberly Grymes and I am a self-published author. And this is From Ideas to Pages to Publishing, a podcast where I'll be documenting my writing and publishing progress and sharing tips and tricks of the trade that I've picked up from others in the publishing industry. When it comes to my personal author experiences, you can expect me to share the good, the bad, my wins, and the days I sit in the corner all curled up and crying. And boy, is this episode about one of those experiences. I wasn't actually curled up in the corner crying, but there was definitely some panicking and ranting and freaking out involved. But that's all part of the growing process to become the best author I can be. And hopefully, my experiences can help others. Please note, I am going to try to keep this episode under the 15 minutes I usually keep all my episodes under. But beware, there is much ranting to come after the project updates. Before I jump in and give you a quick writing update and tell you all about the drama I had last weekend, I want to remind listeners that From Ideas to Pages to Publishing now has a writing support group on Patreon. We meet once a month to cheer each other on as we work to reach our writing and author business goals. So, if you're interested in a writing group focused on project accountability and motivation to keep moving forward on your writing and author business goals, then check out From Ideas to Pages to Publishing, the Patreon group. It's meant to be a budget-friendly resource with low commitment and high results. All right, welcome to episode 12. Super quick project update because I really want to get into my rant. Book 3, Shades and Blood Oaths, in my YA Dark Fantasy 3 Shades trilogy is still with the line editor. The Kickstarter, which will be for the Omnibus, which is the complete series of my YA Dark Fantasy 3 Shades trilogy, launches this September. And since today is June 13th, that means we are 96 days away from launch. One of the two things I want to share with you that I've done in regards to the Kickstarter is I have reached out to the printing company, which is located in China, to start collecting information about making sure all the features I want in the omnibus are available. These features include the foil detailing on the covers, reverse dust jacket illustration, color interior, and book edging, which is what I'm really wanting, the book edging over the solid sprayed edges. The book edging is more of a stencil-like detailing along the top, side, and bottom edges, and I really feel like that would just make this whole book stand out even more. I'll keep you posted on more specifics as we get closer to the Kickstarter and the actual printing process. The other thing I'm doing over the next 3 months, specifically for the Kickstarter, is working with an author PA, personal assistant, to help as a social media manager. I need to get more visibility during the pre-launch phase. Remember, I want to get that 150 followers before launch, and we're currently at 82. So we're making good progress and people are really excited, but I need to get more visibility. So I really need help with posting and feeding the TikTok monster. I've had one meeting with a PA and I'm waiting to hear back from 3 others. So then I will make a decision after I've talked to all of them. I will keep you updated on that. That's it for the Kickstarter for now. I do still need to write that short story, but I'm probably not going to get to it this week or next. Jumping into my next writing project, the Prairieland Romantasy. So chapter 1 has been written and sent to my book coach, Connolly. And we're scheduled to have a meeting next week to talk about the opening scene, this chapter 1 that I've written. To me, chapter 1 is the most important chapter of the book. I mean, not in regards to the storytelling part, but in regards to the hooking the reader part. Again, that's just my opinion though, and I feel like talking about how important chapter 1 is can be a whole other podcast episode. But for now, I just wanted to update you and let you know that I have finally figured out my chapter 1 after many drafts of rewriting chapter 1, and it is off to my book coach for feedback. The secret author collab project is, well, still a secret. We are having our next monthly meeting coming up this Saturday, and I cannot wait to chat with all the other authors. We're currently in the drafting stage. which means, yes, I am writing 2 books right now, 2 chapter 1s. So chapter 1 for the Prairieland Romantasy is off with the book coach, and chapter 1 for this author collab Romantasy project is in the process. I've written about 1/3. Well, I've rewritten many chapter 1s and nothing has really stuck. It's part of my process. But I'm on this draft right now and I'm about 1/3 in. And after taking what I've written previously for chapter 1 for this project, I've narrowed it down to where I kind of want to start it. And I like the direction it's going. So I do have to finish writing that chapter 1 for the upcoming meeting. I am looking forward to telling you more about this secret project. And hopefully, coming up in our meeting, we'll be able to talk more about reveal and announcement dates. Okay, now it's just time. I'm just going to jump right into the drama of last week. Whew. Okay, so damn, it was a doozy of a panic mode for me, I would say. I wouldn't say it was the worst panic moment in my author career, but it is definitely up there in the top 5 for sure. First, I want to say that this was my experience, and I'm not trying to defame or encourage those listening to rally together with their pitchforks and attack certain platforms that I had issues with over the weekend. There were some very valuable lessons learned that I learned and that I wanted to share with others to help prevent something similar, maybe, from happening. So, a little backstory. These podcast episodes are shared to the Patreon group first, from ideas to pages to publishing, and then a week later, they're shared on my Substack page. And I do this by scheduling the podcast episode, directly on Substack to automatically post 1 week later on Friday mornings. So last week, I went to go check on episode 10 posting. The post was supposed to be scheduled, and it turns out it hadn't. So I went in, and I was trying to figure out what happened, and I got a pop-up message from Substack, all red text that said, quote, I'm going to read you exactly what it said. We've removed your publication from public view due to a violation of Substack's spam and phishing policy. If you believe this was a mistake, you can submit an appeal to our standard and enforcement team here. And here was underlined, so you can click it for a link. And that's what I did. I was not in full panic mode at this point. I clicked the link and submitted a 2-line appeal asking what content caused this flag. At this point, I was just under the assumption something with the post or the podcast episode had caused this flag. So I waited, and that was on Friday. And then finally on Sunday, I started to panic because 1, I hadn't heard anything back from Substack, and 2, Substack had shut down my Substack page, and blocked me from accessing the dashboard. So no one could go to my page, and I couldn't go on the dashboard behind to see anything. There was just a big saying, this page is being blocked. So now I've shifted into that full panic mode. And not just because my page was shut down, but because Substack wouldn't give me access to my subscriber list. It was gone to me at this point. And I don't know about you, but making connections and getting people interested in your author journey and having them sign up for your monthly newsletter, that's a lot of work and a lot of connections that you need to make in order to grow that list. And just like that, poof, it was gone. And even more importantly, it was gone 3 months before my Kickstarter campaign launches. So you can see why I was freaking out a bit. So later that day on Sunday, I reached out to some author friends asking their opinion of what I should do. Some said it could be a glitch. Others suggested I was maybe hacked, which I honestly went with that reason for pretty much the rest of the day. I had been hacked. I mean, I was doing everything that other indie authors were doing, sending out a monthly newsletter and sharing my monthly podcast episodes. I did go on and try to use Substack's auto chat feature with their AI bot, and I did get a response saying that an appeal can take up to 2 weeks for me to hear back anything from somebody. 2 weeks. And that made me nervous because, say, in 2 weeks, if they say, oh, your appeal was never, received, I was just really nervous. So I was trying to think outside of the box of how I could save my mailing list. And I had remembered last year in 2024, I had switched from MailChimp to Substack. So I signed into MailChimp and I exported the mailing list there from last year. The plan was from that point, I was going to somehow sign up for another newsletter provider somewhere. There were a lot of suggestions from my author friends. Substack is currently a free email provider. And if I switched to MailerLite or another service, I'd have to end up paying somewhere from $10 to $15 more a month, which I really didn't want to do. But the plan was to sign up for another newsletter provider and then email everybody on the MailChimp list, which was from 2024, explain what happened, apologize, and then give them the option to unsubscribe again if they already had. I already could picture how people would be like, dude, I unsubscribed from this lady. Why is she emailing me? It was the only thing I could think of to get some sort of mailing list back. And then a friend, Matt, thank you, Matt, from the Rebel Author Writing Group suggested I posted on social media this problem. And so I did. I posted in Threads exactly what I just said to you a few minutes ago about how I'm only doing what every other indie author is doing, newsletters and sharing podcast episodes. And then I tagged Substack in the post. And guess what? It worked. Or conveniently, they were like, oh, let's respond to this appeal. I had received an email a few hours later. I can't remember if it was still Sunday or if this is now Monday. And they had emailed me explaining that my account was incorrectly flagged as spam. They fixed the problem and my page was restored. My subscriber list was there and everything was back to normal. So, lessons learned. Well, going forward, I will be exporting a backup list of my subscriber list at least once a month. I added it to my end of the month task list, where at the end of the month, I write down all my updated numbers, sales numbers, follower numbers on socials, etc. Now I'll be backing up my subscriber list too. And you should too. On whatever email hosting platform you use, I recommend exporting your list just in case something ever happens to the hosting site or your page gets flagged for spam or phishing like mine was. This little incident also prompted me into looking into other email hosting providers, which I just talked about a few minutes ago, and it would cost me a monthly subscription fee. The whole reason I started using Substack was because it was a free service where I can send out a monthly newsletter and provide a podcast hosting for free. So that is still an amazing perk. Well, during the chaos of trying to get my email list back from Substack, I decided to push up the project plan I have of consolidating my author website and my author direct shop. So I had been going back and forth between Fourth Wall, Squaresite, and Shopify. And you know from my last episode, I really didn't want to spend the money for a Shopify page or a Shopify shop because it's $30 a month. So $30 a month plus paying $10 to $15 a month for an email service, plus whatever other subscriptions I have already paid, like I pay Canva every year and I have BookFunnel and a lot of things that we pay every year, either monthly or annually. After sitting down and trying to figure out what I wanted from this new author site, the combined author site plus shop, and I wanted to figure out what my long-term goals were, not just short-term. So I ended up deciding that I was going to try Shopify for 1 year, and I was going to see after 1 year if it was worth it. Yes, I hate switching everything over, but it's all about trial and error. What really swayed me was the customizing the shop to look like a professional author website first and then a shop second. What also sold me was the fact, and this is a big one, that Shopify has an emailing server built in. Yes, it's really focused for marketing and reaching people who have purchased stuff from the shop, But after doing some research, I believe you can keep two separate mailing lists using tags on the subscriber's profile. And that allows me to send up a monthly newsletter to those who sign up for a newsletter. And then I can also send out those marketing emails for the shop for those who only want to receive shop emails. So that saves me from signing up to like MailerLite or, another email hosting site. That saves me that $10 to $15 a month. Plus, don't forget, I'm getting rid of my WordPress site, which is through Bluehost, and that's about $160 a year. So I'm saving some money that way. And so that $30 a month doesn't seem so much anymore. So like I said, I'm going to try the Shopify for 1 year. And I'm doing I think it's $1 for the first $1 a month for the first 3 months. I've only started the process of building my Shopify site. And I even signed up for a Shopify course on Udemy, Udemy. It was like $12, and I'll share the link in the description. And this course has been extremely helpful in teaching me all about the Shopify dashboard, themes, and how to manage a Shopify shop. I'm still in the early stages and still need to figure out a lot of stuff out, especially with the emailing side to a Shopify page. And because I need to focus on writing 2 books this summer, this was another reason I decided to hire a personal assistant, or I'm in the process of hiring a personal assistant. Having that help, even for 3 months before the Kickstarter goes live, will be extremely helpful in getting everything done in time for the launch. I really want the Shopify site done at least a few months before the campaign goes live. So that was my drama last week, a big lesson to be learned. If you have any questions, comments, or personal experiences with either Substack or Shopify, I would love to hear them. Be sure to post in the comments or message me on Instagram at kgrymes.writes. And just so everybody knows, I am keeping my Substack page because it is such a great resource for blog posts and the podcast episodes. I will, however, be migrating my newsletter over to the Shopify page. That's all for episode 12. If you want to hear these episodes early, then check out the Patreon page where everybody gets to listen to the episodes a week early. So that's all for episode 12. I'll be back next week with more updates and more experiences to share. Until next time, thank you for listening to From Ideas to Pages to Publishing with me, Kimberly Grymes. For more information about me, my books, and my author shop, visit kimberlygrymes.com/links.